Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Do please like and subscribe, it's down there. Links to my book and all that. Anyway, I'm talking today about gangsters in prison because there's more and more people who are running gangs, specifically drug gangs, that are getting themselves locked up. Of course, they're not like the old time gangsters like the Tony Lambriano and the Cray twins and Mad Frankie Fraser and all that lot. They're not mad gangsters like that. These are gangsters that run gangs that are dealing in drugs, etc. Because the scene of crimes, the typical crime, has changed. If you've been following the news lately, there's a lot of people being incarcerated for long periods of time for various murders. A lot of murders seem to be taking place in Britain at the moment. Must be catching from America. Strange thing about America, you know. They've had, I think last year, well, 2023, they had about 500 mass murders. You know, that's killings where there's more than 2 people been killed, yeah? Numerous school shootouts and shopping malls and cinemas and you name it, mosques. It's just crazy. You go across the border to Canada, they've probably not had any. And it's only what, a few hundred miles, 1,000 miles, and the distance is the same. Speak the same language, but completely different kind of mindset. But the British prisons are now becoming hotels for the gangsters. And the thing is, when they get behind the bars, these gangsters, they continue to run the gangs because they've got all the connections for the drugs and the drugs maintain outside. And the problem is that these people, when they come in to the prison, they have actually got access to funds on the outside because they maintain the dealings, so that despite the fact that they've been locked up for drugs offences quite long term, sometimes, 10, 15 years, they maintain their status outside. And when they're in, what they're doing is using the money that they've got to corrupt the staff. Now, the reason that they can corrupt the staff is some of the staff, a lot of the prisons, they've got 40-50% of their staff who have got less than 3 years experience. This is some mad idea that the Ministry of Justice, the Home Office had, that long-serving prison officers were actually corrupting new recruits by teaching them the bad old ways. Well, unfortunately, the bad old ways were working, and the new ways are the inexperienced officers are being corrupted. And by corruption, I mean giving money, they're smuggling drugs in, and having inappropriate relationships with inmates. When we're talking about inappropriate relationships, we're talking about smuggling drugs in, smuggling phones in, having sexual relationships with, and that's female staff, the the Vernon girls and all that, the hostess system. I mean, who in their right mind decided, without risk assessment, because they wouldn't do it, to put young female officers working the landings of long-term adult male prisons? Who thought that one through? Nobody. And I believe that there should be a class action against the Ministry of Justice. Although they're going to claim Crown protection, I believe that it could be that the courts overrule that. But there has to be some kind of decision made, and really, if there was an effective trade union, if the POA had got any nerve, they would be taking action, because it's their members that are being thrown into situations whereby their vulnerability has not been assessed. And it's the duty of the employer to actually construct a reasonable risk assessment program. Now, if I was the officer in charge of the riskers, I'd say, well, you can't put teenage girls, 18, 19, 20-year-old girls, onto the landings in adult male establishments, because they are going to be quickly manipulated, because they are not in a position to actually deal with these kind of situations that will be presenting themselves. But I don't believe that they are doing that, are they? In fact, I'm absolutely certain that they're not. What they're doing is they're opening the doors and off they go. Yep. In you go. No national training anymore, local training. The whole thing's gone down the pan. Anyway, I'm going to read you a poem now, so let me ring the song dinger. And don't forget, on the 9th of January, that's next Tuesday, at 7 PM here, we're going to have a live evening of 1 hour of live chat. So I do hope you'll all join me then. This is a poem that I wrote. It's based on one of my friends' fathers died, and they invited me to attend the funeral. And I did so virtually, online, because the funeral took place in the Isle of Man. And at the end of the funeral, the man who died, his widow, went forward and put a flower onto the coffin as the final goodbye. And it struck me as being very touching, and I wrote this poem that's based on thoughts I had about this. It's called Your Flower. When the final hymn has played and all the singing ceased, then there will be time for you to think as you lay down to sleep. And in your dreams still see me, see us as both together young. Our tune will still be playing, the dance has just begun. How we laughed, and you will remember me at the Saturday Palais in a nice new suit one day when we were free. I could hold you to me then, foxtrot, 1, 2, 3, but now the band, that glorious sound, is just a memory. You will recall the rose, red rose, that I gently gave to you, and from my hand you took it with a smile and eyes of blue. In sleeping, you are dreaming now of our day that has long passed. Smile in that dream of our love, of a time it could not last. Yet do not believe I have left you, we will always have that hour. And as I sleep now in a darker room, I am holding still your flower. You placed it there and walked away, as lovers always do. So though I am beyond your touch, our love is forever true. That's Your Flower by John G. Sutton from my book, Flowers and Collected Poems. Don't forget, the 9th of January, 7 PM. Yeah. Thank you very much.